thinking it's all a must. Your guide to what this learning can trust. Legacy might have secure it right. Dreams take shape with every insight. Rules and assets, life insurance plans. Building for your future with expert hands. Sometimes money and more. Building wealth with knowledge galore. Asset protection plans to grow. Dream and watch your dreams overflow. From saving today to trust for life. Breaking generational wealth divides. Healthcare directives, taking tips. We're here to help your fortune eclipse. From saving today to trust for life. Breaking generational wealth divides. Healthcare directives, taking tips. We're here to help your fortune eclipse. Listen, and now it's time to learn. So wisdom's your return. Invest, protect, and thrive for sure. Signing off is Soul Talks Money and More.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is time to rise and shine for another edition of Soul Talks Money and More. I am your host, Dr. Sabrina Edmon Williams, educator, author, and investor, opening minds and closing contracts. I am so noted, and I am so excited and so delighted to be here with you this second Monday in July the 13th. Man, we are almost halfway through the month of July, Mr. Armstrong. Where is this time going? Where is the time going? But it's good to be here this morning. Today, I want all of you to just flow with me this morning, because we're coming to you this morning unscripted. I got some things to say, got some things on my heart this morning. As we are gearing up to my community project, Each One, Teach One. This morning, we're going to talk about the legacy that we leave behind. Now, what I want to say first and foremost, for those of you who may not be familiar with what we started a year ago with Each One, Teach One, is we have an opportunity to give back this coming week, and we are soliciting our community. We are inviting, encouraging, and imploring members of our community to step up and be the change that we want to see in our community. You know, I got up this morning and I looked at the headlines, kind of scanned through them just to kind of see what type of weekend we had here in the capital city. It's always very discouraging when you look at the headlines and you see that another young person has either lost their lives through being the victim of gun violence, or they have committed some type of crime that has resulted in another person losing their lives. Because in essence, nobody wins in that situation. And we see this and we talk about it. It's happening all too frequently in our community. But this morning, Dr. Williams wants to challenge us to think about being the difference that we want to see in our community. A lot of times we get paralyzed, or we feel paralyzed by all of the negativity that we see in the news media, on social media. It can become very overwhelming for us. But my question is, what are we to do? What are we to do? Good morning to all of those of you who are checking in on social media. I want to stop briefly and give a shout out all the way to California. Hey, they are already in the house, checked in up early this morning. So come on, Jackson, Mississippi. California is already in the house. We need you, because certainly we have an opportunity to make a difference in our community next Saturday. Now, a year ago, Dr. Williams experienced something that basically I saw as an opportunity to teach our young people. I had an experience where a young man asked me for some help at Walmart. He had a disabled vehicle. He said he had jumper cables. He really just needed someone to give him a boost. But then when it came time to attach the cables, He looked at me and asked if I knew how to attach the cables. Apparently, he did not know how to do that. Now, I could have taken the approach, of just kind of using that moment to discourage the young man. I could have gone on social media and posted about it and talked about it. But the educator in me and the parent in me saw an opportunity to do something different. And we turned that into an event that we started. We partnered with Pastor Charlie Clark and First Lady Joyce Clark over at We Care Church here in the city of Jackson. And we turned that into an event that we titled Each One Teach One. Well, doesn't seem like it, but a whole year has passed and it's time to do it again. We have decided that we are not just going to let that be a one and done, that we are going to continue those efforts, but this time we're going to do it even bigger and better. So this Saturday, July the 18th, from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., again, we will convene at We Care Church at 139 Colonial Drive here in the city of Jackson for our second annual Each One Teach One Day. Now, we have also decided to expand that effort because we are combining it with something that the church already had planned. And we're just going to make it a day of food, fun, fellowship, and community. So we're inviting you again to come out and be a part of that day. What can you expect on that day? Well, I'm glad you asked. You can expect several things. We will be giving away several items, including clothing, school supplies, food. We'll have prizes and giveaways, live entertainment, health screenings, and we will also do an education piece as well, an education piece. And I'm sorry to those of you that were watching us, the broadcast on Facebook. I don't know what's going on. It's actually the broadcast has ended on Facebook, and I don't have time to go back on the live just right now. Maybe we'll catch up after the break. So go on over to YouTube at I Am So Noted. I Am So Noted. IAMSEWNOTED. And join us on the broadcast. So again, we're inviting you. We will have an education piece, as I mentioned. Personal hygiene and grooming will be part of that education piece. A lot of times we look at our young people and we wonder. I was talking to somebody on Saturday who happened to be on the telephone with her daughter in Atlanta. I think she was on FaceTime. And she said, "Oh my, I cannot believe this child is out in the streets of Atlanta in her pajamas." I said, "Please don't tell me she has that bonnet on her head, Mr. Armstrong." Yes, yes, yes. Out in the streets with her pajamas and her bonnet on her head. Lord, come on, y'all. Come on through. Come on through. Let's talk to these young folks about personal hygiene and grooming and what is appropriate and what is not appropriate in public spaces. Come on, I need some of my senior folks to come through on that. We will also be working with our young people on financial literacy. And it may be an opportunity for some of us older folks to learn a few things as well. Some of us have not always been very good stewards of that which has been entrusted to our care. So it will be an opportunity for you to learn as well. Another area that we will be working with our young people on is conflict resolution. Conflict resolution. This is a big one, you guys, a big one, because I am convinced that a lot of what we see going on with our young people in terms of how we settle disagreements is because that skill set known as conflict resolution has not been taught. There was a time when people settled disagreements we would go and we might punch a little bit or pull hair or something. But at the end of the day, we, just kind of shook it off and got ourselves up, picked ourselves up, shook hands, and we were friends again. We don't do that anymore. Things have gotten very, very bad with regard to conflict resolution. Again, I want to invite some of our older folks, our senior folks, to come out and take part in that, because I'm convinced, Mr. Armstrong, and this is just me, I know y'all gonna play that disclaimer at the end of the show, but I am convinced that the reason why our young folks don't act any better than they act sometimes is because we're not always the best examples when it comes to handling conflicts. We are not. There was a period of time, and I got to go back just a moment, and I'm going to come forward, but I got to look back just a moment. There was a period of time when every time you turned on the news, it seemed like there was a member of our city government leadership, somebody that was in conflict with someone else. There was always a conflict. And unfortunately, we didn't always handle those conflicts very well. We've seen people come to near scuffles and meetings, city meetings, and we've had individuals in positions of leadership that have not handled themselves properly in public spaces. So they may very well benefit from coming to this particular event and humbling themselves and learning some things when it comes to conflict resolution. Again, it's about the children. We can't expect them to do any better when we don't know how to do any better. And we're in a season where we all need to be better, at least strive to be better. I think sometimes many of us are under the impression that because we hold certain titles, because we hold certain positions, that we have arrived. And that's not true. I'm here to tell you, you haven't. You're just getting started. You really, really are. To him who much is given, much is required. And I'm convinced that we're at a time when many of us need to look inward rather than look out. I had someone to come up to me yesterday and asked me, said, Dr. Williams, what type of project are you working on right now? And my response, Mr. Armstrong, my project is me. I'm working on me. I don't know about anybody else. That's what I'm working on, because I see some things that are still lacking. And I'm so glad. Remember that old song that said, please be patient with me. God is not through with me yet. I'm so glad that he is not through with me, because there are some things that he sees that still need to be tweaked a little bit, still some molding that needs to be done. And so I challenge you, if you know that you need some tweaking and there are some things that you need to do, I challenge you to come out. Come out. Last year we had, not just the children that were learning certain things. We had adults that went through those sessions as well. And I'm sure they benefited, because none of us know everything. Somebody needs to tell some of these folks that just because you wear a title, just because you got a few letters behind or in front of your name, that doesn't mean you know everything. You don't. So we all could stand to learn. We're also going to be doing some sessions on stress management. All of us are living in a time where we are constantly bombarded and faced with stress. whether it's stressors from our jobs, stresses from our children, stresses from our families, stressors from our community activities, things that we are trying to do. So we have some people who are therapists who have so graciously agreed to be there to help work with our youth and our adults on stress management. And we will have our first responders out that are going to be working with us with regard to health and safety. Health and safety. There are some things that, could make the difference between whether we survive or don't survive certain experiences that we find ourselves in. And so we are looking forward to working with our young people. Now, that is the list that I have today, but that does not mean that that has to be an all-inclusive list. We also have people from the community who have agreed again to be there with us. Mr. Chris with Prestige Auto went in and asked Mr. Chris if he would have his one of his technicians to come out and work with our youth again. We spent the time because this effort was born out of the fact that our young folks didn't appear to know how to apply jumper cables. Well, Mr. Chris sent somebody last year, and we worked with our young men and our young women to show them, to teach them how to apply jumper cables, to teach them how to check their fluid levels in their cars and how to change a flat tire. We cannot take for granted that our youth know how to do these things. I need us to remember that we were not born knowing how to do the things that we know how to do. Think back. We used to be babies, and for some of us, it was a long, long, long time ago. We were little kids. But somebody, thank God that somebody took the time to show us, to work with us, to teach us how to do the things that we know how to do. We cannot continue to just be okay with the status quo within our community. We have got to step up and be the change that we want to see in our community. Now, if you're okay with the way that things are, well, just keep doing what you're doing and we're going to keep getting what we get. But if you are not okay, like Dr. Williams, I'm not okay with what I see, there are some things that we can do. And one of the things that we have to do is we have to stop waiting for someone else to do it. We have to stop waiting for someone else to do it. We have to stop waiting for someone else to lead. We have to stop waiting for someone else to be the change that we want to see in our community. It's time for us to step up. So this is your opportunity, whatever it is that God has entrusted you with, that you know how to do. Don't take it for granted. Don't think that, oh, that's minor, that's minute. No, he tells us that everything that we do, we are supposed to do it to his honor and his glory. So whatever that thing is that has been entrusted to you, please, please don't die with it in you. Leave it behind. This morning, we're talking about the legacy we leave behind, the legacy that we leave behind. And truly, our world and what we are leaving behind, we are shaping it right now in what we entrust and what we feed into our young people. There are three things that we can do to feed into our young people. And honestly, sometimes it's like pulling hairs to get us to do any one of the three. We can feed into our young people with our time. You know, that's one of the things that many of us seem to be in short supply with. And, you know, when you ask people to do things that require time, we don't have time. for those things. We don't have time to be bothered with these bad kids, as we call them. These young folks that won't listen to anybody. We don't have time for that. Well, if we don't have time, then we need to make some time. I challenge us to make some time. Next week, we're only asking for 5 hours. If you can't spend all 5 hours with us, come and give what you can. What you can. If you can only be there for an hour, we implore you, we invite you, we encourage you to come out and feed back into your community. These kids are getting ready to go back to school, and we need to show them through our commitment of time that they matter, that they're important. We need to encourage them to be better, to do better throughout this upcoming school year. So those of you that don't have other plans, I know that this is a time of year when a lot of people are traveling and have vacation plans, and then there are other events that are going on in the city, and I do understand that. However, everybody will not be going to every event. There are some folks that plan to spend the day sitting on the couch, avoiding the heat. Okay, I get that. But how can we expect anything different when we are not willing to sacrifice time for our community? Now, the other thing that we ask that you consider giving is your talent. Again, there are things that have been entrusted to each of us that we sometimes take for granted that everybody knows how to do. And we shouldn't do that, because everybody doesn't know everything. Every life experience has not been the same. Every person's level of exposure has not been the same. So don't take it for granted that that little thing that you know how to do is something that everybody knows how to do. You know, my dad, who is, I talk about him a lot, and I know he's listening to me this morning, and he's gonna blow my phone up as soon as I get off the air. But I marvel at my dad, not just because he's my dad, but for those of you that have heard me talk about him, or those of you that know him, in this season of his life, for the last several years, he has operated a lawn care service. And he does that very, very well, if I do say so myself. He actually services my lawn when he can get around to it. You know, it's always kind of funny how people, when they know how to do something, they do it very well for the public, but the family sometimes gets put on the back burner. But I say that to say that I marvel at his work. When he does his work, he does it very well. Now, he will tell you, if you want to get your yard cut, you might want to call someone else, because that's not what he does. He manicures a lawn. When he finishes with it, it looks like it has been professionally done. And one of my pet peeves when it comes to grass cutting is to have a lawn that looks like someone just went out there and took a lawnmower and ran over it, and you got all that hay and all of that dried grass left all over your yard when you finish. But when I see my dad, and the time and the patience and the honor that he takes in the work that he does, it says a lot about how he handles his business and how seriously he takes his work. He's always told me, your work is a reflection, how you do your work is a reflection of you. If you don't care, then your work will look like you don't care. But when you do care, you're going to put some extra into what you do and how you do it. Well, that's something that is lacking. Everybody wasn't taught that. Everybody doesn't know that. Every little kid that was shown how to pick up a lawnmower or a weed eater may not have been taught how to manicure a lawn, how to make it look like it was professionally done, how to make sure you edge the grass, trim the weeds, blow the clippings off the patio and the front porch. Make sure that your work reflects you in a kind and a positive light. That's something that we can work with our young people on. Not just doing anything any old kind of way. Somebody needs to know that because some little child has not been taught that. There are things that we know that we can leave behind. There are things that we know that we can leave behind, our talents. And for those that don't have time and don't really feel like you have a talent or have a talent that you want to share, we can always use your treasure. Now, I got to stop right here and send a shout out to my good friend down in Hattiesburg, Miss Annie Walker. Annie and I had the pleasure of meeting years ago, probably 20 something years ago, when we worked at the same company together. And we've been friends. We've not always been in each other's lives, but we reconnected recently over the last few years. And Annie has been one of my biggest supporters around the work that I have done. And even though Annie is in Hattiesburg, Annie listens to the show faithfully and was one of the first individuals to say, I'm not in Jackson. I will not be there, but I appreciate the work that you're doing and what you're trying to do. And I'm going to send you something to help you continue the work that you're doing. Donations are always appreciated, you guys, because as I say, we are planning to provide these students that participate in our Each One Teach One Day with back to school supplies, food, prizes, and giveaways. And probably one of the most important things that we will need for next week is water. We are in the middle of summer. It's July in Mississippi. One thing I definitely remember about last summer when we did this program, it was very hot. Even though the church yard is very shaded, the lawn is shaded there. We had tents outside. We also had several stations inside. But we went through a lot of water, a lot of beverages, trying to stay hydrated. So we certainly would appreciate any donations that you are willing to provide to us to make sure that the program and the efforts that we are doing are successful. Now, for some of us, I'm looking at the clock and it's almost time for me to take a break, but I just want to go ahead and get this out there and I'll come back to it on the other side of the break. For some of us, this will be a great opportunity to go through our closets and downsize. Go through those closets and downsize. We are giving away clothing. Now, if you are like Dr. Williams and y'all just tuning in, I said it from the start, Mr. Armstrong, I'm working on me. This is my project right now, working on me and myself. Now, one of the things that I've had to conclude is I have got to work on my weights, and I am doing that. Y'all see, I don't have a coffee. I got the water. So I'm trying to tell them I got the water this morning. So I'm working on me, okay? Now, I'm going to encourage some of y'all to do the same thing. Some of them clothes y'all haven't worn in a whole long time. Give it up. Go on and give it up. Come on, get those clothes up. Because by the time we get where we're going to want us some more cute clothes, okay? We're going to want some more cute clothes. So those that's been in your closet that you have not worn in a long time and you still hanging on to them, bring those clothes on up here to the giveaway. and bless somebody else. Now, with that being said, I'm going to throw it to you, Mr. Armstrong. And on the other side of the break, we're going to get back into this each one, teach one, the legacy we leave behind, because we got to talk legacy. You know, Dr. Williams is the life and legacy planning strategist, and it's time to talk legacy. So I'll see you on the other side of the break. Each one, teach one, the legacy we leave behind.
Let's rise and shine, so talks money, the future's aligned. Grab your coffee, let's take a ride. It's wealth and wisdom, time will rise. Author, investor, educator, team, sharing the wealth, building things you should do. From trust to banking, it's all a must. Your guide to wealth is learning to trust. Legacy matters, secure it right. Dreams take shape with every insight. Rules and assets, life insurance plans, building for your future with expert hands. So talks money and more, building wealth with knowledge galore. Asset protection plans to grow, to read and watch your dreams overflow. From saving today to trust for life, breaking generational wealth divides. Healthcare directives, banking tips, we're here to help your fortune eclipse. From saving today to trust for life, breaking generational wealth divides. Healthcare directives, banking tips, we're here to help your fortune eclipse. Listen, and now it's time to learn. So wisdom's your return. Invest, protect, and thrive for sure. Signing off is all talks money and more.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is time to rise and shine for another edition of Soul Talks Money and More. I am your host, Dr. Sabrina Edmon Williams, educator, author, and investor, opening minds and closing contracts. I am so noted. And I am so excited and so delighted to be here on the second half of Soul Talks Money and More this morning. Now, if you were not with us for the first half of the show, this morning we are talking about an upcoming event that we have planned, we've worked on, and we are looking forward to, that will be held this Saturday, July the 18th. At We Care Church here in the city of Jackson, 139 Colonial Drive. We will be there from 8 a.m. until 1 p.m. Now, this event is titled Each One, Teach One. We are doing a back to school giveaway as well as a life skills training session for our young people. Now, as I told you in the first half of the hour, we have plenty of things planned for that day. We'll be giving away clothing, school supplies, food, prizes. We'll have live entertainments. We have our health professionals that will be there doing health screenings. So we would like to have you to come out and support this event. Bring your children out. If you don't have children, bring your nieces and nephews. If you don't have nieces and nephews, get your neighbor's child. Bring them. Bring somebody. Or come yourself. We have several sessions planned that we feel like our youth could benefit from. But as I was saying in the first half of the hour, some of these grown folks, some of us grown folks can benefit from some of this information that will be shared next week as well. What are you talking about, Dr. Williams? Well, first and foremost, we will be working with our young people on personal hygiene and grooming. You know, a lot of times I go in stores or out in the community and I get on my boys about this as well. Somewhere along the line, and Ms. Armstrong, I need you to come on the mic for just a moment and just flow with me this morning. Because something happened somewhere along the line in our community. I like to watch a lot of the older movies, like things from the 50s and 60s, and particularly to look at how our people were dressed, how we seemed to take pride in how we presented ourselves when we were out in public. But something has shifted today when I look at how a lot of us carry ourselves, and particularly our young people in public. We see them out. Somebody started a trend on these pajamas. You know, they told them that it was okay to wear the pajamas outside the house in public. And, you know, our young ladies are infatuated with these bonnets on their heads. Our young men somebody told them that this look of having their pants hanging off their behinds was popular. What's really going on, Mr. Armstrong? Help me out, Mr. Armstrong. What's going on? What happened?
I can't, Doc, I can't help you out on that one right there because it's amazing to me some of the things that I see because I've had an opportunity to go to the shopping centers and I've seen the young ladies out there with pajamas on and all that kind of stuff, the bonnets on their heads. I've seen the young guys walking with their pants hanging down. I don't have an answer for why they're doing that. That's just the way of the world going around today. But I do see what you said earlier about a lot of things that is going on now. We take for granted, like young men knowing how to jump a car off and all that kind of stuff. When I was growing up, I guess my dad just taught us that stuff just automatically and how to start and cut a lawn, how to start a lawnmower. Those kind of days seem to be disappearing. And thus, those of us that are older, those of us that know, we need to team with you in your organization and the things that you're doing so we can bring all that stuff back into our community because our community is most definitely missing those things in our community. I'm back to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Again, I invite you, I encourage you, my listening audience, my viewing audience, we are back live on Facebook, to please come out and work with our young people. They're not going to change. It's not going to just happen. I don't know when this shift occurred. And, if you guys, anybody that's watching me on social media, if you would like to come in and, maybe speculate or if let me know. I don't know when that happened, but I think that it's time for those of us that know better to do better. Those of us that know better, we have got to do better. We're also going to be working with our young people on financial literacy. We as a community, we spend trillions and trillions, and you heard me say spend trillions and trillions of dollars in this economy annually. We spend, in every other community, every other ethnicity knows that we spend the money. And so they find products and services and all of these things to take the thing that has been trusted to our care out of our community. I think we need to really, really work with our young people to help them understand that, of course, there are uses for this thing, these resources, these financial resources that we have, but it does not have to be that the only thing we find ourselves doing with our financial resources is to spend them. We can save, we can invest, we can give to others as well. And I think that's a concept that we have to work with our young people on so that they understand that God blesses us to be a blessing to other people. Conflict resolution. I talked about this one earlier. This is a big one. We cannot expect our young people to know how to resolve conflicts when our grown folks don't know how to resolve conflicts. Let me just say that again, and I'm going to take this call. We cannot expect our young people, Ms. Armstrong, can you grab that for me and park it? We cannot expect our young people to know how to resolve conflicts when our adults don't know how to resolve conflicts. Okay? They cannot continue seeing folks in leadership positions in conflict, in public conflicts, not knowing how to resolve conflicts. And I'm not saying that we are not going to ever disagree, but there's a way that you disagree with people, especially when you are in public spaces. There is a way that you disagree. And what I would love to see, and I would love for somebody who is in a leadership position, I don't care if it's the governor, the mayor, or somebody, the city council, the board of supervisors, whoever you are in a leadership position, pastors. What I would love to see is an example of someone who does wrong and be willing to admit that they did wrong in a public space. If you do wrong in a public space, come to the people in a public space. Let these young people see what repentance is, what remorse is, what change is. They don't see that enough. They don't see that enough. What they see is us on TV, on social media, in conflict, in constant conflict. And then we wonder what's wrong with our children. Well, if that's all they see, then we don't have to wonder what's wrong. Let's show them something different. I was in a disagreement with this person. I said some things, they said some things, I did some things, they did some things, and this is how we resolve it. Who's going to lead on that effort? That's a challenge I'm issuing to the leadership. If you find yourself in that position, please lead. Please lead. Everybody wants to lead when it's easy. Everybody wants to lead when I can wear the title. You know, it's election time right now. We got folks that's soliciting us for our votes. Maybe that should be one of the questions that we ask our candidates. Has your character been developed to the point where you can stand up in public and admit when you are wrong? We don't always get it right. I'm not judging. I'm just saying. None of us get it right all the time. But have we been developed? Have we been reformed? Have we been refined to the point that our leadership in us says that I'm going to lead by example? I'm just going to leave that one hanging right there for a moment. And I'm not trying to go in hard, and please don't read more into this anybody than what it is. But when we look at where we are in our society, and every day you pick up your phone, your paper, whatever, turn on your television, and another person, young person in our community has taken someone else's life, we've got to do better. We got to set a better example. What is the legacy that we are leaving behind? What example are we showing them? Mr. Armstrong, was that called for me? No, it was not for me. Okay. Stress management. We know we got a lot of stress going on. We live in a high stress society. I had dinner with some friends last Wednesday night who are actually getting ready to leave the country. They said they've had enough of the US of A. They've had enough of it. They are going to Europe and they're going to lead a stress-free life. Tired of the stress. Well, I'm happy for them, but the reality is everybody can't go. Everybody, I don't even think Europeans want all of us over there. So some of us got to stay behind. And since we're going to be here, I think we got to learn how to deal with and how to manage the stress that we constantly find ourselves under. So we are going to be working with our young people on stress management techniques, health and safety, because we do not know how to resolve conflicts a lot of times. And, you know, chances are that some of these conflicts could end in some type of violence. Then we want to work with our young people on what to do if you find yourself in a situation where, you know, maybe your friend has been attacked. You know, how do you slow a bleeding womb? Or, you know, we just got to work with them on some basic things and feed into them. Now, I got to stop and give a shout out to our Jackson Police Department, our fire department, Jackson Fire, Hinds County Sheriff's Office, AMR, who have all agreed. They were with us last year. They supported us. They came out there, worked with our young people, and we want to give a big shout out to them on agreeing once again to be with us this Saturday, July 18th at We Care Church. We will be there from 8 to 1 p.m. Now, we are working to provide transportation. That is possible if you have some children and you don't have transportation. Please give us a call. Now, I'm going to give you a cutoff. If you know you need transportation or your kids need transportation to get there, I need you to call me by Wednesday. If I have not received a call by Wednesday, I am sorry. We have other things to do to get ready for the event, and we will not be able to accommodate you. If you are in need of transportation, go ahead and give me a call. Write this number down, 601-891-5611, 601-891-5611. If I don't answer, please leave me a voicemail and I will call you back. But we do plan to try to provide transportation for some of the individuals that we don't want you to use that as a reason not to participate, okay? Again, shout out to Mr. Chris over at Prestige Auto. He sent his one of his workers out last year who worked with our young people, work with them on how to check the fluid levels in your vehicle, how to change your flat tire, how to install the battery cables properly without blowing something up. Work with our young people because they didn't know how to do these things prior to coming. So we want to just thank him for participating last year and agreeing again this year to participate in this event. If you are listening to the sound of my voice and you're wondering, how can you participate? Well, I'm so glad you asked, and let me tell you how you can help us. First and foremost, bring us some young people. You know, bring your children, bring your neighbor's children, your sister's children, your brother's children, your cousin's kids, baby's kids, nene-nae's kids. Bring them. We want to work with these kids. Bring them to the event. If you are unable to attend in person, certainly we are appreciative of any donations. You can stop by the church, 139 Colonial Drive, We Care Church. We will need plenty beverages. Bring us a couple of bags of ice to keep the beverages cool. There is something that you can do. Everybody listening to my voice this morning, there is a part that you all can play to help this event be, again, a success. And we thank you for whatever role you are willing to play in advance. Each one teach one, the legacy we leave behind. My question to you is, what will your legacy be? What are you leaving behind? What are you leaving behind? And I'm not just talking about what goes on in your own household, because I think too many of us have it twisted. Yes, we have a responsibility to take care of our own home and what's going on in our own homes. But we also have a responsibility that extends beyond our houses. Beyond our houses. Mr. Armstrong said earlier, if you weren't listening at that time, Mr. Armstrong said that his father taught him certain things. We cannot assume that every household in our community has a father in it. We cannot assume that. And even some of the ones that do have fathers may not have fathers that are available right now. Again, we ain't judging nobody this morning, but the truth is the truth. We know that we have a lot of our young brothers that are incarcerated. They are not there, not able to be there with their families. Okay? They're not able to be there. And you may say, well, that's their problem. No, it is not their problem. It's a community problem. These things that are happening in our community impact us all. They impact all of us. And those of you that have daughters, I now have a granddaughter, we should be especially concerned about what is happening with our young Black males. Because the reality is, at the rate that they are going, who are your daughters going to marry? Who are they going to marry? We got to be concerned about what's going on. We got to be the change that we want to see in our own community. And it starts with our willingness to do something. Our willingness to do something. Not sit back and wait for the leadership to plan something. Not sit back and wait for somebody else to do something. We can do it. We can do it. See, my cousin out in California sent me a message on YouTube. She said, our ancestors stood flat-footed and fought for what they wanted and needed. They stood flat-footed and fought for what they wanted and what they needed. You know, I want you to think about something. If you were walking down the street and particularly my ladies, you know, if we had that nice bag, that Michael Kors, that Prada, that Gucci, you know, that Louis, whatever your bag of choice is, if we had that on our arm, even if it was the knockoff, I just want you to flow with me this morning. We had that bag on our arm, and we may not have but $2 in that bag, but we got our bag on our arms and our high heels on, and we strutting down the street, and somebody dared to come up and snatch that bag off our arm and take off running. I bet each and every one of us would probably try to run them down to get that bag. And when we caught them, we would probably, you know, rough them up a little bit. How dare you take my bag? What are you thinking about taking my bag? We would go after the thief, the robber who has taken from us, because we care about that. That's something we're concerned about. I challenge you to think about something else. The thief and the robber has come into our community, and they are taking our children. They are taking them. They are taking their minds. They are taking their bodies. They are taking their very souls, taking them through gang activity, taking them through drug activity, taking them through criminal activity. And we are passive. We are sitting back, allowing it to happen. At what point do we stand up to the thief, to the robber, and say, you can't have our babies? We will feed into our children. We will feed into our community. At what point do we do that? It's time, you guys. It's time. And this is an opportunity for us to do just that. So I invite you, I implore you to come out again, support us this Saturday, July 18th, from 8 to 1 p.m. Even if you can't stay for the duration of the program, you can come out and support. We'll be giving away clothing, school supplies, food, and one biggie that I did leave off. I believe Sister Clark told me that we will have someone there doing haircuts for the young people, so that they will be ready to start school with a fresh haircut. Prizes and giveaways, live entertainment, health screenings. Again, we have a variety of different areas that we'll be working with our young people on. So we invite you, we implore you, and if you cannot be there in person, we are accepting donations of clothing, of monetary donations, water, whatever you would like to send. Bring us some of those good cold Smith County watermelons. We'll take some of those, Mr. Armstrong. Mr. Armstrong, bring me a watermelon Saturday, okay? Okay, all right. Bring us some watermelon. We'll take that. All righty. One other event that I do want to make sure that you know about If you are unable to come to the event we're having at the church, the Clinton YMCA has partnered with Chase Bank, and they will be doing a backpack giveaway. Now, I don't know if they will have school supplies in those backpacks, but they will be doing a backpack giveaway on Saturday as well. Saturday, July 18th from 10 until 1 p.m., I guess, or until, supplies last. So you can go over to Clinton and get the child's backpack and come on over to We Care and get the school supplies, and you good. You good. You didn't have to stand in the line this weekend for the tax-free sale. None of that. You can go get your school supplies and your backpack this Saturday. We would love to see you there. I'm looking at the clock, and I want to leave with this closing thought. We have a lot going on in our community, and each and every one of us know that. We realize that where we are is very troubling within our community. My question to each and every one of us is, what are we doing about it? What commitment are we willing to make to be the difference that we want to see in our community? It would be a wonderful thing this coming Saturday to have so many people that we cover that church lawn and we encircle our young people in prayer, in praise, and in pride. Because this is our future. This is our future. It's been a pleasure being here with you today. Stay safe, stay hydrated, and I look forward to being with you next Monday morning. If it's Monday morning, so it's talking money and more. Peace. Mr. Armstrong, I'm on my way out. All right, while they're getting it together, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and make this transition. It's been good to be here with you today, but I got to move out the way. Take care. See you next Monday.